The saying, "Why do you look at the speck in your brother's eye, but fail to notice the plank in your own?" is a timeless biblical lesson about my tendency to focus on the flaws in others while ignoring the often more significant issues within me. I met with a client for a life coaching session. She was frustrated with a coworker who she felt was disorganized and always unprepared for meetings. She went on and on about how this person's lack of preparation slowed everything down and made teamwork nearly impossible. As I listened, I nodded in agreement, thinking about how frustrating it must be to work with someone so careless. I offered her suggestions on tactfully and professionally addressing her coworkers' issues. Later that evening, as I prepared for a presentation, I noticed a stack of disorganized notes on my desk. The presentation was less than 24 hours away, and I hadn't finalized my outline, much less practiced. A sinking feeling crept in. I was scrambling, as I often did before big events. Suddenly, I remember my client's frustration earlier that day, and it hit me. Wasn't I guilty about the same thing I'd encouraged her to confront? How often had I walked into meetings or events without being fully prepared, expecting others to accommodate my last-minute efforts? The realization, though not a new one, stung. I had been so quick to spot the splinter in her coworker's behavior that I hadn't noticed the plank in my own. My tendency to procrastinate and wing it wasn't just an isolated issue. It had ripple effects on those around me, just like her coworker's behavior. That moment became another turning point for me. When I find myself tempted to critique someone else, I remind myself to pause and ask, is there a reflection of me in what I see? This practice keeps me grounded and reminds me that growth begins with self-awareness. I am reminded to examine my heart, attitudes, and actions. Doing so allows me to see the world more clearly and bring more clarity, kindness, and growth into my life and those around me. How about you? Watch for the blind spots.